This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
I need 3 of those things, baby! We ain't done yet! We ain't done yet! You like that? You like that? I like that!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 126 of the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast. I'm Spenace the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And on this episode of the podcast, we have our good, bad, and the ugly. The high heat, where we will not talk about the Simpsons Monday night football game that's going on. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. You can go ahead and eat my shorts. Color commentary, where we talk about athletes as fictional characters. Our film room. And our stud and dud of the week. And yeah, I just pulled a Bart Simpson earlier, but
Also for the pick'ems,
we can go right into the tumbleweed footage. Wait, what?
What's my color again for the football pick'ems? Is it yellow?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but why didn't we address this before we recorded?
Because we were so focused.
Who cares? Let's just...
Alright, tumbleweed footage. Here we go. 3, 2...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tumbleweed. Alright, the good this week. Ironically enough, we're talking about college football and the playoff selection for the first ever 12-team playoff. It didn't even turn out half that bad. Here's what it broke down to. The 4 teams that got a bye are the Oregon Ducks, the Georgia Bulldogs, the Boise State Broncos, and the Arizona State Sun Devils, who were the 4 highest ranking conference champions. And here are the games that are going on. Arizona State will play the winner of Clemson versus Texas. Oregon will play the winner of Tennessee versus Ohio State. Boise State will play the winner of Penn State and SMU. And Georgia will take on the winner of a battle of the Hoosier State between Indiana and Notre Dame. I would say minus a couple of minor tweaks and kind of some restructuring a little bit, this does not look half that bad.
Yeah.
If you really break it down. 3-loss Alabama didn't get in, which is weird to say for a college football playoff. But we will not start picking games for the college football playoff until next week. So those games will be on our docket for next week.
Yeah.
However,
go ahead.
However, I really enjoy it. I do think that Oregon gets a little bit of a tough draw with Ohio State and Tennessee being such quality teams at 8-9. Meanwhile, Penn State takes on SMU and goes to Boise State. And if they get through that, they have a pretty reasonable path to the semifinal. But Georgia will be playing without Carson Beck, as he has an injury going into the quarterfinals. So it's going to be very interesting to see how far Georgia goes. And who really will make it to the national championship?
So what I was going to add to this was, my thought is, and obviously this is still new and they haven't really done a whole lot with it yet, and I kind of want to see how it goes. Part of me kind of feels like at this point they might as well just do like a March Madness kind of implementation for that, and in a sense they have. It was just more kindled towards more of I
A
think
college football playoff selection show, but they did it at noon on a Sunday. If you're gonna do a selection Sunday like that, no, set it at around, like prime time type ordeal. Maybe right after the 4 o'clock games of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Give and kind of let that break it down. I mean,
Well,
yeah, you kind of get more eyes on it and get a whole bunch of more speculation as you talk about it during the Sunday afternoon NFL games.
Well, my problem right now is just the fact that it just feels like there's not very many teams in it. But at the same time, where do you draw the line? Number one, and number two, do they really want to add another month?
Perfect.
I mean, if they did them,
it's
to my rebuttal to my own statement about the March Madness layout, wouldn't it? I don't know if they really want to do a whole month more of just like crazy football madness. Like they would probably rather just do a few weeks and just see how this format goes, because it's just the fact that they haven't really done much with the playoff ordinance when it comes to college football. It's always been either big bowl games, and then all of a sudden they incorporate those big bowl games with the national championship, and then you just have like two random teams that seem good to most people, but like the real college football fans will be like, "Oh, this is for all the marbles," kind of like the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I feel like the hype around it is better than it has been in the past few years, because they haven't really just used the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, and whatnot as like a advertisement for this playoff. Now they have actual teams that are playing kind of like a playoff, because you have the home
every other
field
level's
advantage and stuff like that. But
every other level has it. Every other level has it. The FCS has it. Division 2 has it. Division 3 has it. But the biggest difference is that yes, the first games there are set to the higher teams a home field advantage. Yes, Clemson has to go to Austin. The Volunteers got to go to Columbus and the Horseshoe. SMU has to go to Happy Valley. And the Hoosiers have to go to South Bend. But once you get to the quarterfinals, it's all bowl games from there. It's all neutral site. So I like that concept. The semifinals are also in neutral site, and the national championship is in neutral site. So I love that this is different for the quarterfinal, semifinal, and championship. And I think that this is the right amount for college football. I think or for at least the division, the FBS playoff.
Yeah, that was partly why I rebutted. That was partly why I rebutted my own self, because I was thinking, well, they did a March Madness layout. It'd probably be about a month long, and then you would get sick and tired of hearing about it, especially since you've had a long season already for the college football season, and the way the world is trending with college football now is like, if your team gets like to a very rough start and the team is thinking about making a change dramatically, it's going to be the portal. And I feel like the portal's going to screw that all up anyways. That's partly why I was like, okay, well, if they do this and X, Y, or Z happens, and then what do you do then? Like, it's just a weird scenario. It's just weird.
Yeah. College football is feeling more like pro football now, where you're dealing with NILs and now transfer portals, where it's almost like a recruitment free agency period.
Yeah, screw the NIL.
You're getting a lot of things.
Anyways, let's go to the next one.
Even though we've kind of scrutinized the college football playoff and the system enough, the not so great it's not so much that Juan Soto got signed to the New York Mets and that he is going crosstown from the Bronx to Queens. It was more so the contract itself and the quality of the contract. Granted that Scott Boras, he's a heck of an agent when it comes to getting his players the amount of money.
But you trade that off with the amount of time it takes to actually get that damn contract to start, because either the team is being stingy on it, or maybe Scott Boras is like, let's just play the time card and see if they'll budge, kind of thing. And I don't really like that about Scott Boras, but it is a good strategy in his favor.
Nobody does. Nobody likes Scott Boras for that. But the contract on Juan Soto from the New York Mets, 15 years, $765 million. This can escalate up to $800 million on one condition. Juan Soto opts out year 5. He chooses to opt out. He's 26. He opts out at 31, trying to go for more. The Mets have the ability to veto an opt out from Juan Soto at that point, to void it, raise the amount of money that Juan Soto gets for the rest of his contract from $51 million a year to $55 million a year, where the $800 million kicks in. And then on top of that, there is no deferred money on this contract at all.
Oh man, I was hoping for Bobby Bonilla and Juan Soto Day.
We're running out of Bobby Bonilla days left anyway. I think we've only got it.
So we really want Bobby Bonilla / passing the torch to Juan Soto? Is that what we're getting at?
Yeah, Bobby Bonilla's contract ends. Yeah, so July 1st, 2024 has officially stated, or officially has put, the amount of Bobby Bonilla days left to 11.
Oh damn, Spenace has got the numbers up right now.
So July of this coming year, 2025, there are 10 Bobby Bonilla days left until the contract is complete. The contract ends on July 1st, 2035. Because of the deferred payments. And we know that Shohei Ohtani is going to have some real nice deferred payments coming up. Like once his career's done.
Do you think that the inflation around that time, whenever his career's done, is going to be like so dramatic, like so insane that like it's almost like the Dodgers got him for a bargain starting earlier because of the fact, because like
very much so.
The economy in California is just whack in comparison to like other states in the U.S. when it comes to state tax. Like you could go to Florida and pay like 0 state income tax on that, whereas in California they're like, okay, well, we're gonna make this contract $300 million, but really it's like more like $80 million because of
yeah, and of course they're both in California and New York, so all of that, yes, is probably gonna get taxed out to Kingdom Come on top of that.
Yeah, but yeah. My opinion on the Juan Soto contract is mainly just, I think it's going to be another symptom of what happened last time Steve Cohen decided to spend a shit ton of money on the Mets. But I just don't know by what extent. Because I think the Verlander signing was, I don't think Mets fans and company really want to remember that right now, because that's probably a sore spot. But I mean, now you got Houston paying him, but I just don't know how to feel about the Juan Soto contract. All it reminds me of is like going to Las Vegas for your final years because your relevance will slowly go down. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's the on top of that. And then the on top of that is that, it the Mets may not even be done after getting Soto. As Pete Alonso, they're still looking at possibly trying to re-sign Pete Alonso. They're trying to figure out other ways to spend a whole lot of money to make the team relevant. And when has the last time in Major League Baseball, other than obviously with the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers being able to really more so make spending effective,
Padres.
when's the last time that really a major team that has spent that much in payroll been very, very effective? I mean, are you saying the Braves in spending money?
Padres. Because
Padres?
it mainly started in like 2017 when they signed Eric Hosmer, and then they signed Manny Machado the next season after, and then like a few other guys. But like it seemed like it was like every other year they would sign a big name guy. But like that, and then I think another thing, like you said, with the Braves was they would extend guys, and then I think part of the whole Braves thing is that they send like 30% of that extension to like a charity or whatever.
Oh yeah, like the Braves are like the Braves make long-term investments at times when long-term investments are appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the downright ugly is more so about a trade that an NFL team has made that really has not had very much of effectiveness because the player has said, I don't wanna.
Do you think if DeAndre Hopkins went to the Ravens that they would have any more success than they have now? Compared to if Deontay Johnson went to the Chiefs, do you think it would have been kind of like a same effect, just different story kind of thing, or do you think DeAndre Hopkins would have been a dramatic helper to Lamar Jackson and company?
I think DeAndre Hopkins would have been enough help, but the problem is that I think Deontay. This is either showing that Deontay Johnson, Baltimore was trying to make an investment to add depth to their wide receiver room. Deontay Johnson may not have really been interested in going to Baltimore as a spot.
I mean, it was better than the Panthers.
Other than that he was getting the ball.
Yeah.
And that he was a number one wide receiver in Carolina.
Wasn't that what he was bitching about in at a Steeler country, or is it mainly just his character on the field that gave?
Deontay Johnson was a number one. Oh, Deontay Johnson was a number one receiver in Pittsburgh before they let him go to Carolina. But the problem is that Pittsburgh didn't have a quarterback that could get him the ball.
That is true. And then they were also going off Pickens instead, anyways.
Oh no! They put their eggs in the Pickens basket, which ultimately led them to trading Deontay Johnson. But I think if Deontay Johnson would have if there would have been some patience in staying the course with Deontay Johnson in Pittsburgh, and having Russ there at quarterback, throwing you the football, Deontay Johnson probably would have thrived.
But we also didn't have a guarantee that Russell Wilson was going to tank so bad with the Broncos that the Broncos would eat up that contract. Like, no one saw that coming for like a few years. So definitely, yeah. But man, who knows what?
Or did we?
It's very hard to tell what happens in the future of the NFL. The NFL is such a weird thing these days.
Oh, but I think the coincidence of Denver was going to let go of Russell Wilson because they were going to draft their next quarterback. That wasn't that wasn't going to be like something overly surprising. We figured that was going to happen. And Sean Payton invested in his guy, in the guy that ultimately became his guy. So yeah, we knew Russell Wilson was going to get shipped off. We weren't expecting it to be Pittsburgh, but the Pittsburgh decision has been more of a pan out for Russell Wilson. And there's a reason why Pittsburgh, as far as coaching goes, is probably the most stable spot in the NFL. And on top of that, Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season in his career as a head coach.
Which is kind of surprising because of just how over the years the Steelers have just been kind of because when you had a Canadian as your offensive coordinator, it was kind of like, why is he still here? Why is he on the payroll?
There's been inconsistencies that have happened, but what Pittsburgh has done great with has been the stability of what Mike Tomlin brings. And yeah, there's times where people have said, "Oh, fire Mike Tomlin, fire Mike Tomlin." Pittsburgh is one of the healthiest organizations for that, where the Rooneys do a great job of putting a lot of healthy faith in coaches. And that, yeah, it may not have been the best season. We may not have made the playoffs, but you got us enough games to all of a sudden, hey, we got a mid-first round draft pick that we can put to something of very healthy use.
Yep, and on that end note, I want to put that the trust that is involved between the owners and the coaches and just the staff in general also plays a big role. Like you see with the Chiefs and like other organizations like the Steelers. If you're like other organizations like the Browns or Raiders and whatnot, that bond might not be as strong, and it's probably being like held on by like a old 4-year-old piece of like Flex Seal tape or Flex tape or whatever, and it's just barely keeping the bulge of water from leaking or whatever.
It's being put together West Virginia style with zip ties and duct tape.
That's the title of our episode.
Not yet. I'm sure we've got plenty of different things. And speaking of talking about relationships that are right now being held by zip ties and duct tape, we can start with the high heat and talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and Carolina Panthers game, as A.J. Brown has put out a statement in saying that the Eagles' offense biggest issue is the passing game. Is A.J. Brown correct in this statement?
I think he is on to something, but let's be real here. The Eagles' offense, just as a whole, last year plummeted around this time. They didn't the Eagles beat the Cowboys, or was it the Cowboys beat the Cowboys beat the Eagles? I remember because around this time last year I went on a work trip and like the Eagles and Panthers were playing.
No,
or not
Eagles beat the Cowboys. Eagles beat the Cowboys.
Okay, thank you. And I was reminded of because wasn't it after that game that they imploded offensively and defensively last year? Because they lost to the Buckets. Yeah, that's what.
You're talking last year's schedule.
Because I'm pretty sure I saw like a Sports Center broadcast of them like doing post game stuff, and I was just like, yeesh. But anyways, I think AJ Brown is correct, but I think there's other aspects that they had to keep going back to the basics on. Like, I don't know how effective the tush push still is for the Eagles, but they could focus more on that. They could also focus on deep balls or being conservative with like the short passes, like a shotgun pass, or like a play action or an RPO. Like they could mix things up, but I just don't know how complicated that is, and also if the defenses are reading all that stuff too. Because they've been doing pretty well with Saquon and few of their other wide receivers and tight
Yeah.
ends. But yeah, I
Oh.
can see the frustration with AJ Brown.
Yeah, I think AJ Brown has a point because the numbers passing wise are not there for the Eagles wide receivers as often as what they had been. But I am going to disagree with AJ Brown in the sense that the running game has been more effective this season. As you got Saquon Barkley. How are you, as a wide receiver, granted, yes, you want the ball. Yes, you want to be able to do something. You've got the ball thrown to you 4 times. You caught the ball all 4 times. You led the team in yardage. Was it kind of your ideal amount? No. But yes, Saquon Barkley was averaging in this game 6.2 yards per carry. Jalen Hurts is a mobile quarterback who will make plays with his legs if he needs to, or will get the tush push going, or brotherly shove is how the Eagles really would describe it based on the theme of their city, and being able to have that go. And yeah, Devontae Smith is hogging up targets and catches. But the Eagles are winning football games. And for that, the Eagles have not really had situations where they've been too far behind to be able to have situations, or Saquon Barkley has been able to run them out of a jam. So yeah, are the issues there in the passing game? It's not being prevalently shown. But Jalen Hurts had no picks. Jalen Hurts didn't throw an interception. The issue in the passing game is not Jalen Hurts making mistakes. Because Jalen Hurts has only 5 picks on the season. It's just the receivers are not getting the ball because they are running the ball more effectively.
While I was interrupting you, I had a thought. This kind of reminds me of the 2021 Chiefs when Tyreek Hill was bitching about how he wasn't getting enough, getting the ball thrown to him as much, and that kind of hurt the offense for the Chiefs for a long time, especially in that AFC Championship game against the Bengals. Like, at some point, you just got to be like, okay, are you part of the? Are you going to be a part of the ship, a part of the crew, or are you just going to try to make your stock go up and only care about you versus the team as a whole?
Yeah, I think the best quote that really needs to be said about this actually comes from none other than Ted Lasso himself. Ironically, a Jason Sudeikis character. He's talking to Jamie Tart. He says, I think you might be so sure that you're 1 in a million that sometimes out there you forget that you're just 1 of 11. Yeah, AJ Brown, you may feel like you're a 1 in a million wide receiver, but you are just 1 player out of 11 on an NFL offense. Football really is an ultimate team sport. So basically, I'm sorry, I gotta quote The Rock here for this, AJ Brown. Know your role and shut your mouth and just focus on doing what you need to with the plays that are called and honestly just take what a defense gives you.
Shout out
The
Big
defense
Getty.
is, yeah. Like Ted Lasso really honestly says this a little better in that particular moment. The next one here, Bucks 28, Raiders 13. We're just simply going to say here, yes or no. Is the NFC South the Buccaneers to lose? Like, are they really in? Do the Bucks have complete control of this division?
No. Just they have so many holes on offense, and it's not even just wide receivers, it's just the consistency. It's just not there.
And the hardest part for that for the Bucks the hardest thing that has hurt them the most has been health.
Yeah, Chris Godwin.
Oh,
who
that
else?
you've got Antoine Winfield out there out for a couple more weeks. So you just got Mike Evans back after losing him for 3 games. And the hardest game on the Bucks schedule remaining is the Chargers. Who are you thinking has more control at this point in the NFC South than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Where are you going?
Ironically enough, I would think the Falcons might have a little bit more of a good time if they can figure out their offense as well. But I kind of feel like, even though I literally just said that there's no way in hell for the Bucks, I feel like they're probably better than the Falcons and Panthers. But I just don't know how to. I just don't know if I can confidently say that the Buccaneers are safe, or if it's their thing to lose, because it's weird. Any given Sunday, things could happen, but I just don't have much faith in the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I am looking at all 3 teams right now here. The best schedule remaining between the 3 teams is the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have the best schedule remaining. But right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are performing like the best team in the NFC South. The Buccaneers are playing like it, but the Falcons have the best situation moving forward. So really, it's if the Falcons get back on track and the Buccaneers lose to the Chargers, I think the door swings open a little bit wider for the Falcons to eventually take over and catch up. Because the Falcons, their teams they have remaining, the 3 out of the 4 that they have remaining are the Raiders, the Giants, and the Panthers. They have the Commanders, but the Commanders are a tough team. But the Falcons have to win the next 2 in order to really push ahead. To push ahead and stay even with the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Seahawks 30, Cardinals 18. Has Seattle started to break away in the NFC West?
Yeah, look at the standings.
And I at this point for the Seattle Seahawks, I am actually going to say the word that you just threw out there for them. No. I do not believe the Seahawks have broken away at all.
Yeah, good effing luck, Seahawks. I feel like they've had an identity crisis for a while. Like, they looked really good in the beginning of the year, and then as of late they've just kind of like crapped the bed in like weird ways, and
Oh yeah. And your next two games are the Packers and the Vikings for the Seahawks. Then you have the Bears, who are kind of about as consistent as a Rex Grossman performance in 2006. and then they close out with the Rams. So yeah, three out of your last 4 games that you have to close out the season, not that simple. It's
also,
not that
the
simple.
Rams are hella surging, but we'll talk about that here in a bit.
Yeah, the Rams are surging, and we can kind of go straight into that talking about this. Rams defeating the Buffalo Bills 44-42. Can the Rams continue this surge and spoil the Seahawks NFC West Championship hopes?
All right, number one. Go ahead, sorry.
Here's who the Rams have remaining. They have San Francisco. That game is about as 50-50 as a coin flip. Then you have the Jets and Cardinals. The Jets, winnable. The Cardinals, winnable, but 50-50. So really, again, the NFC West, as Tom Petty would call it, the great wide open.
Into the great wide open.
As really none of these 4 teams really have an absolute, the closest to a heavenly scenario to really catch up is the Cardinals, with having the Patriots and Panthers right there on the front end. So this division is really coming down to a full-blown wire.
Yeah. So here's my 2 cents on the Rams, on this Rams football team. Number 1, clean up your offense a little bit more, and your defense as well. If you keep that up, good things will keep happening, and I think the offense is starting to explode even more now that you still have Nakua healthy and you have Cooper Kupp that's like kind of on a thread. Like, I think he's finally drinking his milk again to keep his bones from just exploding. And it's a long season, and I think, just like Tom Petty would say back in the day, love is a long road, baby.
Right. And last but not least, the Kansas City Chiefs winning on a doinker. 19-17 over the Los Angeles Chargers.
Can we just start with me ranting for like 2 minutes about why I still have mixed emotions about this game, and then I'll let you talk about it, because I just want to get this off my chest.
The question I was going to ask is, are the Chiefs relying on a bit too much luck, or are they as good as what their record is really showing?
Okay. If you were to tell me, I don't know, like at the beginning of the season, that we would have Kareem Hunt on the team that kicked him out due to some off-the-field shit, I probably would have laughed in your face and then probably driven away or just walked away. It just depended on where I was at the time. You could have also said that Samaje Perine would be on the team, and I probably would have been like, yeah, whatever, like, you're high. If you were to tell me that DeAndre Hopkins would be a Kansas City Chief after Halloween in, like, early November, I would have probably told you you're smoking something. If you were to tell me that our offensive tackles would have issues and woes, I probably would have said, I don't know, man. I just have to see it to believe it. And now that has come into fruition. The past few games, Wanya Morris was playing hurt. He wasn't just, like, playing down to his potential. He literally, like, his leg has been giving him problems. And you need sustainability from your legs in order to like plant your legs and also make sure that you're not holding a player and you're able to like block for Patrick Mahomes. Um, so they tried to fix that with DJ Humphries. And in this game yesterday, DJ Humphries, I believe it was like second or third quarter, went down with a hamstring. And he hadn't played for like about a year or so because he tore his ACL with the, I believe it was the Cardinals. And we thought Kingsley Suamataia would have been the choice there, and obviously that didn't happen. You don't see much with C.J. Hansen or Hunter Norzad, the other guys that we drafted, but I don't know. It's been a very interesting injured-riddled season without the side effect of what the 49ers had when it came to going to a Super Bowl, losing the Super Bowl, and then the next year they would have like about more than half of their guys just hurt, and then the season was just dead for them. But when the Chiefs do that, they almost had an undefeated season a couple of games ago against the Bills. So if you also told me that we would be undefeated almost going into December, I would have told you you're high then too. But this game, I'm gonna get to this game right here and right now. I'm sick and tired of these I'm sick and tired of these damn close games. I want an easy game at one point in this season. Give me a game where we win by a touchdown, or at least don't look like we're about to fumble the cards and fold, like in like poker, Texas Hold'em. Because Andy Reid and them have a good poker face, but when is someone going to bet higher enough on you to where that whole pot collapses and goes to the other team? When is it going to end, is my point. Because every time I see these wins, I think of the Breaking Bad meme where Jesse Pinkman's like, they can't keep getting away with it! And I talked about it a couple of weeks ago then too. And that still holds true here. I hated the last play, but yeah. Anyways, I'm done ranting. Spenace, the floor is yours.
I think it is a lot of luck, and the Chiefs have shown at this point that right now sometimes it's been better to be lucky than good. I
agree with that.
I have found that this year's edition of the Kansas City Chiefs are not as good as where they were years ago. Bailed out. They have been getting bailed out by favorable calls from refs at times. They've been bailed out by teams making their own
decisions,
sort of mistakes.
Like
making their own mistakes. They've been getting bailed out by, yes, sometimes having to make a big play in a big moment, which, yes, that could show a sign of health for a team. But at the same time, the Chiefs have done absolutely nothing this season to really make, dare I say it, their case for them being a potential 3-time champ in a row. They really haven't done anything to say to me convincingly, this team is going to win the Super Bowl. They really haven't. And I'm not saying this to draw a boo from you at all.
I'm sick and tired of this shit where our offense is not producing the way they should. They have the weapons, and they're getting even more weapons coming out of Christmas. You have the potential of having Hollywood Brown, a guy that we signed at the beginning of the season that had shoulder issues going into after a few snaps in the first preseason game of the year. Like, it could be a nice thing that we're getting all our offensive weapons back, but what's the use of having all those offensive weapons if you can't protect your effing quarterback Patrick Mahomes? He does not
But
have enough
I
time
also,
to throw the effing ball. You have a kicker that is kind of reliable. I mean, he is better than that Matt Amendola guy that we had a few years back. I don't want to relive those days, but Butker could come back soon. We'll just have to see. But I it's
but I
frustrating.
also am throwing out there that yeah, you could be frustrated with it all you want, but at the same time, there are teams, there are teams in the NFL that have made more convincing statements to say they are the one. I am notably, I will throw teams out there that kind of have made more convincing statements. First and foremost, the Detroit Lions. Secondly, surprisingly enough, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Buffalo Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles. I probably will even throw the Baltimore Ravens, I think, have made at times more like commanding statements to say, yeah, we are that team that will win this Super Bowl. And that the Chiefs are not going to three-peat. I think there are teams right now that are playing at a degree and even to a tier that is well above where Kansas City currently sits. Yeah,
Probably going to eat those
they're
words, and they're probably going to get to the Super Bowl again.
oh, they they could get there. Like they have the potential to get there. I just don't see them having the potential of winning it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think that there is enough of a they don't have that absolute dog in them to fight through and win and really win a third one.
I think the mentality of Andy Reid also helps that too, because even like on this game, he was like, "Hey man, you guys played your heart out to a team that was giving it their all. You just gotta realize that this happens. Don't like beat yourself down. Just
Yeah.
be proud of where you've been." Like he is,
Yeah.
so he's not like too high or not too low. He just wants to keep it real and make sure that people are on the same page with that. And I think that is very helpful for the team.
And y'all are the reigning defending 2-time champs. So yeah, that target is going to be quite large on y'all's back. And simple as that.
Yeah. We ready?
Yep. And now to our color commentary, where ESPN Plus tonight was doing the Simpsons themed Monday Night Football game. So we decided to throw 5 fictional characters as we've made claims to say that these certain athletes are very much like these particular characters.
By the way, this idea was made by me, and I'm very proud of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the idea was definitely pitched by you. And it definitely was a very fun one to try and come up with it.
Alright, do you want me to go first?
Yep.
Alright, so if you're a Chiefs fan and you've ever noticed DeAndre Hopkins and the way he just like his like mood is towards like touchdown celebrations and just being in the Chiefs kingdom, he kind of gives me Groot vibes. Like he doesn't really talk all that much, but like his eyes are just kind of like the telltale of it all, and just the raw emotion. Because with Groot, he's just kind of like, "I am Groot," and then he just kind of f's around and finds out, and then helps the his crew get to objective A to B. Like in Guardians of the Galaxy, he also helps make bridges. He also protects in other ways, and I feel like DeAndre Hopkins as Groot from Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is that element. And there are times where DeAndre Hopkins goes the grown-up Groot, and then there's times where he's baby Groot, and he tries to press the button that detonates like a whole planet.
Accurate. 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 No! No!
No, not that button.
All right. So my Marvel character that I have, I went with the Incredible Hulk, and the person that goes along with it just simply because of just how big he is and how crazy he can get, especially when he's fired up. Motor City Dan Campbell, the Detroit Lions head coach, as this guy, you don't want to see, you won't like him when he's angry. But he makes these teams that are so gritty. And I would have loved to have made him Captain America, but at the same time, I'm like, Captain America doesn't necessarily work for that type of persona that he is. Motor City Dan Campbell is the Incredible Hulk. The next one you have there, Ruckus.
Okay, so my next one is a SpongeBob pick, and spoiler alert, it's not SpongeBob or Patrick, it's Squidward as Dave Tepper, because Dave Tepper always has random tantrums, and so does Squidward. Like, there'll be times where he's like, everyone's a critic except me, or Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob is screwing things up again, or he'll just be like very cynical towards SpongeBob over dumb things, and yeah, he's just kind of a menace. Sorry.
Yeah, but my pick here, I went with Kyler Murray as Plankton. The Arizona Cardinals have basically been, as an organization at this point, the chum bucket. And Kyler Murray is its quarterback. However, the robot wife is basically Kyler Murray behind a console and Call of Duty. And then he's just seemingly trying to be after a winning formula to get the Cardinals to the Super Bowl and the playoffs, which he simply has not really been able to find. It doesn't matter who the head coach is. Doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is. Kyler Murray has just not really gotten there. Should have taken the baseball money, my guy.
Honestly, I agree with that. And also, Kyler, quit playing Warzone. Play a real man's game like Tarkov, Delta Force, or some other shooter. Let the kids eat their Doritos and drink their overly caffeinated Mountain Dew. You bum. All right.
Your third one.
So, for the Simpsons theme, I am pulling an evil one, and I like to do this voice sometimes, but Steve Cohen as Mr. Burns. Excellent. Smithers, release the hounds. But, sir, release the hounds. I mainly did this point because he pretty much stole Juan Soto from the Yankees.
All right. And yes, I am now going into the pundit world for this one, as Abe Simpson is going to be Stephen A. Smith, as he, more often times than not, on First Take and all these other things, has just basically become an old man yelling at a cloud.
and then uses it as his driver's license photo.
All right,
uh,
and your fourth one.
I'm gonna have Patrick Mahomes as Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, and y'all know what I'm saying when I mean that. Have you ever seen Jack Sparrow try to run? He runs like he's running really fast on a log that's near water, and you're trying to keep balance. And my guy does it all the time when he's near the out of bounds area, and he just looks very silly. And every time he runs, it's like you're hearing the intense music of doot 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 doot, and then just the epic chorus of it all while he's about to get tackled and whatnot.
No, I think there were some other claims kind of around the outside of that. I actually am going with another analyst as well. Jason Kelsey as the genie from Aladdin. Just the over-the-top personality. Like, he kind of has that Robin Williams-like persona and energy.
I think
Being
he'd be a
able to-
better genie than Will Smith was. That's just my opinion. But anyways, go ahead.
Oh, that story was just... Yeah, I mean, Will Smith, if he was playing that role more like Will from Fresh Prince, we probably could have seen it work out. But it just looked like a genie with no charisma. And Jason Kelsey, you know this man's got charisma. The Wawa commercials, and all the stuff, especially with the New Heights podcast. This dude like is charisma in a charisma written all over it. And last but not least, our special category and wild card of non-animated fictional characters.
And my non-animated fictional character is Adam Sandler. And you might be wondering, well, wouldn't it be Happy Gilmore or other?
But who's the athlete you're describing? But who's the athlete you're describing as Adam Sandler?
I am describing Adam Sandler as a basketball player, what do they call him whenever you're playing pickup basketball? A baller, I guess, or a
Hooper, pretty much.
What? Sorry, you kind of cut out.
Like a hooper.
Like a hooper. But I think Adam Sandler would be a great one. Like, imagine if he was playing alongside LeBron or Kobe. Like, that'd probably be pretty cool. Or some other thing.
Yeah,
like...
but who is the athlete that you're basically portraying as Adam Sandler? Like, you're throwing Adam Sandler, but you're not necessarily having an athlete like portraying.
Yeah. He is portraying Lenny Feder from Grown Ups. He was a basketball player then, and then they also.
Oh, and you're doing that with just Adam Sandler himself.
Yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I actually took this as the way that I thought we were doing this, and I went with George Kittle as Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, with the real concept of his wildly animated style and the football is life style of approach, and just the high energy of both of those two, and just how George Kittle would basically be that in a nutshell. And now we move on to the film room, where I now have a 19-point lead going into week 15 of the NFL season, and we are preparing to wrap up college football under a small stretch. And the first game for 3 points is our only college football game in this entire scenario. And that is Army Navy.
I am picking Army because I feel like they don't need to worry about having sea legs or going back to the land for I guess stability on land.
As much as I would love to say go Navy beat Army, I am taking Army because they are the American Athletic Conference champions and they are ranked.
How to be an American. Da, da, da. I think I just botched that Hulk Hogan intro.
But the NFL, Rams, 49ers for 1 point. Who you got?
I was on the fence because, I mean, the 49ers defense is pretty beat up. Like, no Nick Bosa really to speak of, and you still have Fred Warner, I think, with a fractured ankle that he's playing through. I think I'm going to pick the Rams over the 49ers.
I am taking the surging Los Angeles Rams as well. Chiefs, Browns, we both know it. I think we're both safely taking the Chiefs. Broncos, Colts.
Broncos.
Where are you going? I'm taking the Broncos.
I have a feeling that Bo Nix is going to outperform Anthony Richardson.
Oh, very easily. Bills, Lions. I think we've now had our first set of differences.
So the reason why I go Bills is because their offense is exploding, but they need to be more conservative on their throwing because Josh Allen has a history of getting intercepted by good secondaries, and the Lions have an extremely good secondary. So the only reason I'm picking the Bills is mainly because you got Josh Allen. He's a freaking He's a freaking tank, and he has other weapons around him that are starting to surge now too. And he just put up a 50 bomb against the Rams, and they only lost by 2. Imagine what he does to the Lions.
I'm gonna say not that much. And here's why. Number 1, this game is at Ford Field. The Lions are at home. I believe that the Lions are better than the Bills in terms of being able to control the clock.
I mean, that was true.
Yeah. And I think that the Bills may be a little tougher, maybe a little bit of a tougher team, but I think the Lions are entirely capable of being able to do what they need to win that game. And plus, I really don't think that they're in as much pressure to actually, like, if they lose this game, I don't think there's as much to necessarily worry about because they're probably already in the number 1 team in the NFC, which may cause them to hold back a little bit, or they're trying to play for security of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, Steelers, Eagles.
So I'm going to pick the Eagles for this one, mainly because I feel like the Eagles have the better offense versus the Steelers. Like, the Steelers have like a somewhat considerably good offense. It's just more of the question marks that go along with that is just Russell Wilson and how he's going to perform against a heavy secondary and internal defense for the Eagles compared to the Steelers, where the Steelers are more front heavy than they are back heavy. So that's why I'm picking the Eagles. I think they're just the better overall team.
Taking the Eagles because they're at home. Taking the Eagles at home. Taking the Eagles at home because Lincoln Financial Field is not an easy place to play. I also am taking the Chargers here.
I am taking the Chargers mainly because their defense and just everything seems to be in a somewhat decent groove. their offense still needs some stuff to go well for them, but their defense is scary.
Oh yeah, the hardest part is that J.K. Dobbins is hurt, and now Bucky Irving is hurt for the Bucks. So they're dealing with a lot of second-string running backs on both sides. But I think that the Chargers at home make this work out. And last but not least, the Packers and Seahawks. And I am saying, go Pack, go!
I'm going to say the same thing, go Pack, go. I think Jordan Love stuns the Seahawks, but we'll just have to see.
Yep. And now to our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, take it away.
Alright, so my stud for this week is Joey Chestnut consuming 21 pounds of shrimp cocktails in an eating contest.
Huh.
And then my stud... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to do my stud next, and my stud goes to Spurs point guard Chris Paul for passing Jason Kidd for second all-time in assists. And the Spurs posted this like a little like congratulatory video to Chris Paul, and they had like various different players from like well-known or recent to Victor Wembanyama to throwing a lot more like obscure names out there. I mean, granted, yeah, his other two Lob City counterparts, DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, were in it. But they had some like really, really like deep cut players that were involved in the video, and it was nice to see. And I believe, if I would have this correctly, that I think Chris Paul still needs well over 3,000 assists. Believe he is at 3,707 assists away from catching John Stockton. Yes, he is that far behind. And Chris Paul is already 39. So he is right there near the very tail end of his career, and I don't think he will get there. Because I think John Stockton's career assist record is going to be unbreakable.
Yep.
Now to our duds of the week.
All right, my dud for this week is Gunnar Stockton doing his inner Tua moment and sits out for one play during a crucial drive near the end of the game. And that moment is when he sacrifices his body for, I believe he was trying to get a touchdown, but it was just a first down. But his helmet fell off. And he didn't show any like real signs of like what Tua would have with the concussion, but he was sidelined for one play due to his helmet being off, and I just thought it was dumb.
Well, that's just the rules of football now anymore. And Gunnar Stockton, is that a college or NFL player?
That was the SEC championship game. He was the backup quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh, college! Oh, yeah, college. You have to. College, you have to.
Well,
they've done that.
His starting QB had a bum elbow.
Carson Beck's hurt. Yeah.
So it's like, why would you sacrifice yourself when homie over on the other part of the sideline has like a bum elbow because he got hit when he threw? Like, come on, man, be a little conservative.
Buckle up your chin strap.
Or just slide like a normal human being. Don't pull a Tua.
All right. And then my dud is Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins for not necessarily putting in a performance that has us liking him now. Over his last 4 games, no touchdowns, 8 picks, including 4 against the Chargers. And Ruckus, you now can go ahead and take us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to episode number 126 of Ruckus and the Menace Sports Podcast. I'm Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
I'm Spenace the Menace.
And we'll see you guys in episode 127. Deuces.